Hello everyone, happy Sabbath. I'm Lee. I'm going to continue reading the book of Jubilees. Alright, this is the book written by Giza Vermes, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and in it they quote the book of divisions of times into their jubilees and weeks. And on that day that a man swears to return to the law of Moses, the angel of persecution shall cease to follow him, providing that he fulfills his word. For this reason Abraham circumcised himself on the day that he knew. And Jubilees is also included. Dead Sea Scrolls. Jubilees is included in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which were found. And it's a good way to ask for the exact determination of their times, to which Israel turns a blind eye. Behold, it is strictly defined in the book of the divisions of the times into their jubilees and weeks. And that is Jubilees chapter 26 or 23. 23. So, Jubilees, translation by R.H. Charles. And where's that? Genealogy. It is Mastema. Last words. Yeah. Renew study of the law. And this is, well, that's the, yeah. This is the chapter here that it's referring to. Chapter 23. But we're not doing 23, so I'm going to start with chapter 13. It's hard to tell which chapters are which on here. Let's see. In the book, Jubilees, 13. Abram journeyed. It's probably going to be. Yep. Okay. There we go. Chapter 13. And Abram journeyed from Haran, and he took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother, Haran's son, to the land of Canaan. And he came into Ashur, and proceeded to Shechem, and dwelt near a lofty oak. And he saw, and behold, the land was very pleasant, from the entering of Hamath to the lofty oak. And Yahweh said to him, To thee and to thy seed will I give this land. And he built an altar there, and he offered thereon a burnt sacrifice to Yahweh, who had appeared to him. And he removed from thence unto the mountain, Bethel on the west, and Ai on the east, and pitched his tent there. And he saw, and behold, the land was wide and very good, and everything grew thereon, vines and figs and pomegranates and oaks and elixes and terebinths and old trees and cedars and cypresses and date trees and all the trees of the field. And there was water on the mountains. And he blessed Yahweh, who had led him out of Ur of the Chaldees, and had brought him to this land. And it came to pass in the first year, in the 7th week, on the new moon of the first month, that he built an altar on this mountain. And he called on the name of Yahweh. Thou, the eternal Elohim, art my Elohim. And he offered on the altar a burnt sacrifice unto Yahweh, that he should be with him and not forsake him all the days of his life. And he removed from thence and went toward the south, and he came to Hebron, and Hebron was built at that time. And he dwelt there 2 years, and he went thence into the land of the south to Beoth. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went into Egypt in the 3rd year of the week, and he dwelt in Egypt 5 years before his wife was torn away from him. Now Tanis in Egypt was at that time built 7 years after Hebron. And it came to pass when Pharaoh seized Sarah, the wife of Abram, that Yahweh plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarah, Abram's wife. And Abram was very glorious by reason of possessions in sheep and cattle and asses and horses and camels and men servants and maidservants, and in silver and gold exceedingly. And Lot also his brother's son was wealthy. And Pharaoh gave back Sarah, the wife of Abram, and he sent him out of the land of Egypt, and he journeyed to the place where he had pitched his tent at the beginning, to the place of the altar, with Ai on the east and Bethel on the west. And he blessed Yahweh his Elohim, who had brought him back in peace. And it came to pass in the 41st Jubilee, in the 3rd year of the 1st week, that he returned to this place, and offered thereon a burnt sacrifice, and called on the name of Yahweh, and said, Thou, the Most High Elohim, art my Elohim forever and ever. In the 4th year of this week, Lot departed from him, and Lot dwelt in Sodom. And the men of Sodom were sinners exceedingly, and it grieved him in his heart that his brother's son had parted from him, for he had no children. In that year when Lot was taken captive, Yahweh said unto Abram, after that Lot had parted from him, in the 4th year of this week, Lift up thine eyes from the place where thou art dwelling, northward and southward and westward and eastward, for all the land which thou seest I shall give to thee and to thy seed forever, and I shall make thy seed as the sand of the sea. Though a man may number the dust of the earth, yet thy seed shall not be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it and the breadth of it, and see it all, for to thy seed shall I give it. And Abram went to Hebron and dwelt there. Now, Jubilees was written by Moses, which makes it Torah, and it goes hand in hand with Genesis, not Jasher. Jasher's occult crap nonsense. But if we go over here to, where's that? Let's go here. The writings of Abraham. This is supposedly found in Egypt, 1831. And writings of Abraham, which I need to compare this to Jubilees. Jubilees is scripture kept by the priest exiled to Qumran, found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Sarah, where's it at? This has got the same occult doctrine that Jasher does. Ooh. He destroyed the idols with the axe. Why hast thou done this thing? Appeared to King Nimrod. Nope. Wow. I didn't realize that. So, nope, we're not going to go there. Alright. And, hey, hallelujah. return to the place he was originally. How's it going, Brother Josh? And in this year came Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Selasar, and Targal, king of nations, and slew the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Sodom fled. And many fell through wounds in the vale of Siddim by the salt sea, and they took captive Sodom and Adam and Zeboam, and they took captive Lot also, the son of Abram's brother, and all his possessions, and they went to Dan. And one who had escaped came and told Abram that his brother's son had been taken captive, and Abram armed his household servants. Blank, blank, blank. I've tried to find that missing text, and I can't find it. Got to be important for it to be missing. For Abraham and for his seed, 1/10 of the first fruits to Yahweh. And Yahweh ordained it as an ordinance forever, that they should give it to the priests who serve before him, that they should possess it forever. And to this law there is no limit of days, for he hath ordained it for the generations forever, that they should give to Yahweh the 10th of everything, and of the seed, and of the wine, and of the oil, and of the cattle, and of the sheep. And he gave it unto his priests to eat and to drink with joy before him. And Yahweh of Sodom came to him and bowed himself before him and said, Our Lord Abram, give unto us the souls which thou hast rescued, but let the booty be thine. And Abram said unto him, I lift up my hands to the Most High Elohim, that from a thread to a shoe latchet I shall not take aught that is thine, lest thou shouldst say that I have made Abram rich, save only what the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men who went with me, and Ner, and Eshcol, and Mamre, these will take their portion. And let's see, so that's 20. I'm going to go back a little bit. And yeah, see, in Jubilees, which is scripture, found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, kept by the sons of Zadok, it says that Abraham, and I think I've already talked about this in the other video, but he rebukes his father for having the idols, and Abram here arose at night and burned the house of the idols, and he burned all that was in the house, and no man knew it. See, in Jasher and the writings of Abraham, he says he destroyed the idols with his hatchet, but that's not what Jubilees says. And they arose that night and sought to save their gods from the midst of the fire, and Haran hasted to save them, but the fire flamed over him, and he was burnt with the fire and died in Ur of the Chaldees before Terah his father. And it tells you in Jasher that in writings of Abraham that Haran burned to death in the fiery furnace of Nimrod, which that contradicts Jubilees. So I'm going with Jubilees. Jasher and writings of Abraham, no thank you. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. Campaign of Chedorlaomer. Alright, and next, chapter 14. After these things, in the 4th year of this week, on the new moon of the 3rd month, the word of Yahweh came to Abram in a dream, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy defender, and thy reward will be exceeding great. And he said, Master, Master, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go hence childless? And the son of Mesech, the son of my handmaid, is the Damasek Eliezer. He will be my heir, and to me thou hast given no seed. And he said unto him, This man will not be thy heir, but one that will come out of thine own bowels, he will be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad, and said unto him, Look toward heaven, and number the stars, if thou art able to number them. And he looked toward heaven, and beheld the stars, and he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And he believed in Yahweh, and it was accounted to him for righteousness. And he said unto him, I am Yahweh that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees to give thee the land of the Canaanites to possess it forever. And the reason he gave him the land of the Canaanites was that was his original inheritance, the inheritance of Shem, son of Noah, that the Canaan, the son of Ham, stole. And Jubilees tells you that, to possess it forever, and I shall be Elohim unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. And he said, Master, Master, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, Take me a heifer of 3 years, and a goat of 3 years, and a sheep of 3 years, and a turtle dove, and a pigeon. And he took all these in the middle of the month, and he dwelt at the oak of Mamre, which is near Hebron. And he built there an altar, and sacrificed all these, and he poured their blood upon the altar, and divided them in the midst, and laid them over against each other. But the birds divided he not. And birds came down upon the pieces, and Abram drove them away, and did not suffer the birds to touch them. And it came to pass, when the sun had set, that an ecstasy fell upon Abram, and lo, an horror of great darkness fell upon him. And it was said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and they will bring them into bondage, and afflict them 400 years. And that is Egypt. Say, chapter 62. Household. Bethel on the west. 3 years. And so that's talking about Egypt and the nation. Also, to whom they will be in bondage shall I judge, and after that will come forth thence with much substance, and thou wilt go to thy fathers in peace, and be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they will return hither, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And he awoke from his sleep, and he arose, and the sun had set, and there was a flame, and behold, a furnace was smoking, and a flame of fire passed between the pieces. And on that day Yahweh made a covenant with Abram, saying, To thy seed will I give this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates, the Canaanites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, the Perizzites, and the Rephaim, the Phachorites, and the Hivites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Girgashites, and the Jebusites, Nephilim, all Nephilim, or Nephilim mixed. And the day passed, and Abram offered the pieces, and the birds, and their fruit offerings, and their drink offerings, and the fire devoured them. And on that day we made a covenant with Abram, according as we had covenanted with Noah in this month. And Abram renewed the festival and the ordinance for himself forever. And Abram rejoiced, and made all these things known to Sarah his wife. And he believed that he would have seed, but she did not bear. And Sarah advised her husband Abram, and said unto him, Go in unto Hagar, my Egyptian maid. It may be that I shall build up seed unto thee by her. And Abram hearkened unto the voice of Sarah his wife, and said unto her, Do so. And Sarah took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, and gave her to Abram, her husband, to be his wife. And he went in unto her, and she conceived, and bare him a son. And he called his name Ishmael in the 5th year of this week. And this was the 86th year in the life of Abram. Imagine having a child at 86. I can't imagine having one at 39. And chapter 15, in the 5th year of the 4th week of this Jubilee, in the 3rd month, in the middle of the month, Abram celebrated the feast of first fruits of the grain harvest. Oh, he's celebrating a feast before Mt.Sanai. And he offered a new offerings on the altar, the first fruits of the produce, unto Yahweh, a heifer and a goat and a sheep on the altar as a burnt sacrifice unto Yahweh. Their fruit offerings and their drink offerings he offered upon the altar with frankincense. And Yahweh appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am Yahweh Almighty. Approve thyself before me, and be thou perfect, and I will make my covenant between me and thee, and I will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and Yahweh talked with him and said, Behold, my ordinance is with thee, and thou wilt be the father of many nations. Neither will thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name from henceforth even forever shall be Abraham. For the father of many nations have I made thee, and I shall make thee very great, and I shall make thee into nations, and kings will come forth from thee, and I shall establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee throughout their generations for an eternal covenant, so that I may be a Elohim unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. And I shall give to thee and to thy seed after thee the land where thou hast been a sojourner, the land of Canaan, that thou mayest possess it forever, and I shall be their Elohim. And Yahweh said unto Abraham, As for thee, do thou keep my covenant, thou and thy seed after thee, and circumcise ye every male among you, and circumcise your foreskins, and it will be a token. I'll circumcise every male among you, and circumcise your foreskins, and it will be a token of an eternal covenant between me and you. And the child on the 8th day you will circumcise every male throughout your generations, him that is born in the house, or whom you have bought with money from any stranger, whom you have acquired, who is not of thy seed. He that is born in thy house will surely be circumcised, and those whom thou hast bought with money will be circumcised, and my covenant will be in your flesh for an eternal ordinance. And it's interesting here that he's given him the land of Canaan, which was the inheritance of Shem, divided for lot to Shem by Noah after the flood. And this is when the kingdom comes down. Well, he gives it to him one time, and then he gives it to him again when the kingdom comes down. So that's eternal. And the uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin on the 8th day, that soul shall be cut off from his people, for he hath broken my covenant. And Yahweh said unto Abraham, As for Sarah thy wife, her name will no more be called Sarah, but Sarai, but Sarah will be her name. And I shall bless her, and give thee a son by her, and I shall bless him, and he will become a nation, and the king of nations will proceed from him. And Abram fell on his face, and rejoiced, and said in his heart, Shall a son be born to him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, who is 90 years old, bring forth? And Abram said unto Yahweh, O that Ishmael might live before thee. And Yahweh said, Yea, and Sarah also will bear thee a son, and thou wilt call his name Isaac, and I shall establish my covenant with him, an everlasting covenant, and for his seed after him. And as for Ishmael also have I heard thee, and behold, I shall bless him, and make him great, and multiply him exceedingly, and he will beget 12 princes, and I shall make him a great nation. But my covenant shall I establish with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to thee in these days in the next year. And he left off speaking with him, and Yahweh went up from Abram, and Abraham did according as Yahweh had said unto him, and he took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and whom he had bought with his money, every male in his house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin. And on the selfsame day was Abraham circumcised, and all the men of his house, and those born in the house, and all those whom he had bought with money from the children of the stranger were circumcised with him. I think these in the parentheses are added, because all the men of his house would cover all those born in his house. This law is for all the generations forever. Forever. And there's no circumcision of the days, and no omission of one day out of the 8. For it is an eternal ordinance ordained and written on the heavenly tablets. Wonder if they erased that or changed that, or it just stays there. And everyone that is born the flesh of those whose foreskin is not circumcised on the 8th day belongeth not to the children of the covenant which Yahweh made with Abraham, but to the children of destruction. Nor is there moreover any sign on him that he is Yahweh's, but he is destined to be destroyed and slain from the earth, and to be rooted out of the earth, for he hath broken the covenant of Yahweh our Elohim. For all the angels of the presence and all the angels of sanctification have been so created from the day of their creation, and before the angels of the presence and the angels of sanctification he hath sanctified Israel, that they should be with him and with his holy angels. And do thou command the children of Israel, and let them observe the sign of this covenant for their generations as an eternal ordinance, and they will not be rooted out of the land. For the command is ordained for a covenant, that they should observe it forever among the children of Israel. For Ishmael and his sons and his brothers and Esau, Yahweh did not cause to approach him, and he chose them not because they are the children of Abraham, because he knew them, but he chose Israel to be his people. And he sanctified it and gathered it from amongst all the children of men, for there are many nations and many peoples, and all are his, and over all hath he placed spirits in authority to lead them astray from him. But over Israel he did not appoint any angel or spirit, for he alone is their ruler. I guess that squashes the guardian angels. For he alone is their ruler, and he will preserve them and require them at the hand of his angels and his spirits, and at the hand of all his powers, in order that he may preserve them and bless them, and that they may be his, and he may be theirs from henceforth forever. And now I announce unto thee that the children of Israel will not keep true to this ordinance, and they will not circumcise their sons according to this law, to all this law. For in the flesh of their circumcision they will omit this circumcision of their sons, and all of them, sons of Beliar, will lead their sons uncircumcised as they were born. And there will be a great wrath from Yahweh against the children of Israel, because they have forsaken his covenant and turned aside from his word, and provoked and blasphemed, inasmuch as they do not observe the ordinance of this law. For they have treated their members like the Gentiles, so that they may be removed and rooted out of the land. And there will be no more pardon or forgiveness unto them, so that there should be forgiveness and pardon for all the sin of this eternal error. So that's a future prophecy, that they won't be circumcised. Jubilees. If you were the seed of Abraham, you would do the deeds of Abraham. That's what he said. And 16. So I might wonder why they got rid of Jubilees, but it was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So it was in Scripture, but they got rid of it. And on the new moon of the 4th month, we appeared unto Abraham at the oak of Mamre. And we talked with him, and we announced to him that a son would be given to him by Sarah his wife. And Sarah laughed, for she heard that we had spoken these words with Abraham. And we admonished her, and she became afraid, and denied that she had laughed on account of the words. And we told her the name of her son, as his name is ordained and written in the heavenly tablets, Isaac. And that when we returned to her at a set time, she would have conceived a son. And in this month Yahweh executed his judgments on Sodom and Gomorrah and Zeboam and all the region of the Jordan. The only thing that's in the modern Bible is Sodom and Gomorrah, but these right here are missing. What's Zeboam? All right. Check. See. I normally like to read out of a book, so I don't get a chance to look some of this stuff up. So, it's a poem. Let's see here. Nehemiah 11:34. Had deeds of Nebat. Oh, there you go. Genesis 10:19. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon, as thou comest to Gerar, unto Gaza, as thou goest unto Sodom and Gomorrah, and Admah and Zeboam. So it's in there. And Zeboam is in Hosea 11:8. The prophets. How shall I set thee as Zeboam? My heart is turned within me. My repentings are kindled together. Well, I should have said. See Sodom. No more. Yeah. And like Matthew 10:15, verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. It just says Sodom and Gomorrah. Same thing with Genesis. That's the next chapter. Genesis 19. And let's see. Yeah. Genesis 19:24. Yahweh rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from Yahweh out of heaven. That other one is Zeboam. And it's not in Genesis, it's not in the New Testament, but it's in Hosea the prophet. Was it originally in Genesis in the New Testament? Probably. And he burned them with, well, it didn't have to be in Genesis because it was in Jubilees. If they removed Jubilees, it'd be gone. So a good possibility it was in the New Testament. And he burned them with fire and brimstone and destroyed them unto this day, even as I have declared unto thee all their works, that they are wicked and sinners exceedingly, and that they defile themselves and commit fornication in their flesh and uncleanness on the earth. And in like manner Yahweh will execute judgment on the places where they have done according to the uncleanness of the Sodomites, like unto the judgment of Sodom. But Lot we saved, for Yahweh remembered Abraham and sent him out from the midst of the overthrow. And he and his daughters committed sin upon the earth, such as had not been on the earth since the days of Adam, till his time, for the man lay with his daughters. And behold, it was commanded and engraven concerning all his seed on the heavenly tablets, to remove them and root them out, and to execute judgment upon them like the judgment of Sodom, and to leave no seed of the man on the earth on the day of condemnation. And I don't think it says, behold, let's see, yeah, Lot and his daughters committed sin upon the earth. See, and you go to Lot, daughters, Genesis 19:36. Yep. The daughters laid with their father. Yep. See, it doesn't say anything about committing sin. It just says they laid with their father. As cities of the plain. Lot went up to Zoar. Let father drink wine. Yep. So it kind of expands upon it. Two together give a lot more understanding. So, and in this month Abraham moved from Hebron and departed and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur in the mountains of Gerar. In the middle of the 5th month he moved from thence and dwelt at the well of the oath. And in the middle of the 6th month Yahweh visited Sarah and did unto her as he had spoken, and she conceived, and she bare a son in the 3rd month, and in the middle of the month, at the time of which Yahweh had spoken to Abraham on the festival of the first fruits of the harvest, Isaac was born. And Abraham circumcised his son on the 8th day. He was the first that was circumcised according to the covenant which is ordained forever. And in the 6th year of the 4th week we came to Abraham to the well of the oath, and we appeared unto him as we told Sarah that we should return to her, and she would have conceived a son. And we returned to her. We returned in the 7th month, and found Sarah with child before us, and we blessed him, and we announced to him all the things which had been decreed concerning him, that he should not die till he begat 6 sons more, and should see them before he died, but that in Isaac should his name and seed be called, and that all the seed of his sons should be Gentiles, and be reckoned with the Gentiles. But from the sons of Isaac one should become a holy seed, and should not be reckoned according to the Gentiles, reckoned among the Gentiles, for he should become the portion of the Most High, and all his seed had fallen into the possession of Yahweh, that it should be unto Yahweh a people for his possession above all nations, and that it should become a kingdom and priest and a holy nation. And we went our way, and we announced to Sarah all that we had told him, and they both rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And he built there an altar to Yahweh, who had delivered him, and who was making him rejoice in the land of his sojourning. And he celebrated a festival of joy in this month 7 days near the altar which he had built at the well of the oath. And he built booths for himself and for his servants on this festival. And he was the first to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles on the earth. And during these 7 days he brought each day to the altar a burnt offering to Yahweh, 2 oxen, 2 rams, 7 sheep, 1 he-goat, for a sin offering, that he might atone thereby for himself and for his seed. And as a thank offering, 7 rams, 7 kids, 7 sheep, 7 he-goats, and their fruit offerings and their drink offerings. And he burnt all the fat thereof on the altar, a chosen offering unto Yahweh for a sweet-smelling savor. And morning and evening he burnt fragrant substances, frankincense, and galbanum, and stacked, and nard, and myrrh, and spice, and custom. All these 7 he offered crushed, mixed together in equal parts, and pure. Now Messiah is our sacrifice, so no sacrifice is needed. But it's interesting that he offered spices, burnt spices. And he celebrated this feast during 7 days, rejoicing with all his heart and with all his soul, he and all those who were in his house. And there was no stranger with him, nor any that was uncircumcised. And he blessed his Creator, who had created him in his generation, for he had created him according to his good pleasure. For he knew and perceived that from him would arise the plan of righteousness for eternal generations, the Messiah. And from him a holy seed, so that it should become like him who made all things. And he blessed and rejoiced, and he called the name of this festival the festival of Yahweh, a joy acceptable to the Most High Elohim. And we blessed him forever, and all his seed after him throughout all the generations of the earth, because he celebrated this festival in its season, according to the testimony of the heavenly tablets. For this reason it is ordained on the heavenly tablets concerning Israel, that they shall celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days with joy, in the 7th month, acceptable before Yahweh, a statute forever throughout their generations every year. And to this there is no limit of days, for it is ordained forever regarding Israel, that they should celebrate it and dwell in booths, and set wreaths upon their heads, and take leafy boughs and willows from the brook. And Abraham took branches of palm trees and fruit of goodly trees, and every day going round the altar with the branches 7 times a day in the morning, he praised and gave thanks to Yahweh for all things in joy. So, 17. And all the plain. Yep. Admon and Moed, Deuteronomy 23. Yep. And very good point. Chapter 17. And in the first year of the 5th week, Isaac was weaned in this Jubilee. And Abraham made a great banquet in the 3rd month on the day his son Isaac was weaned. And Ishmael the son of Hagar the Egyptian was before the face of Abraham his father in his place. And Abraham rejoiced and blessed Yahweh because he had seen his sons and had not died childless. And he remembered the words which he had spoken to him on the day on which Lot had parted from him. And he rejoiced because Yahweh had given him seed upon the earth to inherit the earth. And he blessed with all his mouth the creator of all things. And Sarah saw Ishmael playing and dancing, and Abraham rejoicing with great joy. And she became jealous of Ishmael and said to Abraham, and this is in Genesis also, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman will not be heir with my son Isaac. And the thing was grievous in Abraham's sight because of his maidservant and because of his son, that he should drive them from him. And Yahweh said to Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the child and because of the bondwoman, and all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken to her words and do them, for in Isaac shall thy name and seed be called. But as for the son of this bondwoman, I will make him a great nation, because he is of thy seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and took bread and a bottle of water, and placed them on the shoulders of Hagar and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba, and the water in the bottle was spent, and the child thirsted and was not able to go on, and fell down. And his mother took him and cast him under an olive tree, and went and set her down over against him at the distance of a bow shot, for she said, let me not see the death of my child. And as she sat, she wept. And an angel of Yahweh, one of the holy ones, said unto her, why weepest thou, Hagar? Arise, take the child, and hold him in thine hand, for Yahweh hath heard thy voice, and hath seen the child. And she opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled her bottle with water, and she gave her child to drink. And she arose and went towards the wilderness of Paran, and the child grew and became an archer, and Yahweh was with him. And his mother took him a wife from among the daughters of Egypt, and she bare him a son, and he called his name Nebaioth, for she said, Yahweh was nigh to me when I called upon him. And it came to pass in the 7th week, in the 1st year thereof, in the 1st month, in this Jubilee, on the 12th of this month, there were voices in heaven regarding Abraham, that he was faithful in all that he told him, and that he loved Yahweh, and that in every affliction he was faithful. And the prince Mastema came and said before Yahweh, behold, Abraham loveth Isaac his son, and he delighteth in him above all things else. Bid him offer him as a burnt offering on the altar. And thou wilt see if he will do this command, and thou wilt know if he was faithful in everything wherein thou dost try him. And Yahweh knew that Abraham was faithful in all his afflictions, for he had tried him. He had tried him through his country and with famine, and had tried him with the wealth of kings, and had tried him again through his wife when she was torn from him, and with circumcision, and had tried him through Ishmael and Hagar, his maidservant, when he sent them away. And in everything wherein he had tried him, he was found faithful, and his soul was not impatient, and he was not slow to act, for he was faithful and a lover of Yahweh. What an amazing man. And Yahweh said to him, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, behold, here am I. And he said, take thy beloved son, whom thou lovest, even Isaac, and go up unto the high country, and offer him on one of the mountains, which I will point out unto thee. And he arose in the morning, and saddled his ass, and took, chapter 18, and took his 2 young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood of the burnt offering. And he went to the place on the 3rd day, and he saw the place afar off, and he came to the well of water. And he said to his young men, abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad shall go yonder, and when we have worshipped, we shall come again to you. And he took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it on Isaac his son, and he took in his hand the fire and the knife, and they went both of them together to that place. And Isaac said to his father, Father. And he said, here am I, my son. And he said unto him, Behold the fire and the knife and the wood, but where is the sheep for the burnt offering, father? And he said, Yahweh will provide for himself a sheep for a burnt offering, my son. And he drew near to the place of the mount of Yahweh, and he built an altar, and he placed the wood on the altar, and bound Isaac his son, and placed him on the wood which was upon the altar, and stretched forth his hand to take the knife to slay Isaac his son. And I stood before him, and before the prince of the Mastema, and Yahweh said, Bid him not to lay his hand on the lad, nor to do anything to him, for I have shown that he feareth Yahweh. And there's Satan again, Mastema. And I called to him from heaven and said unto him, Abraham, Abraham. And he was terrified and said, Behold, here am I. And I said unto him, Lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything to him, for now I have shown that thou fearest Yahweh, and hath not withheld thy son, thy firstborn son, from me. And the prince of Mastema was put to shame. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, a single ram caught by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered it for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. And Abraham called that place, Yahweh hath seen, so that it is said in the mount, Yahweh has seen, that is Mount Zion. And Yahweh called Abraham by his name a second time from heaven, as he caused us to appear to speak to him in the name of Yahweh. And he said, By myself have I sworn, saith Yahweh, because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thy beloved son, from me, that in blessing I shall bless thee, and in multiplying I shall multiply thee. And that was a blessing he gave him earlier, and he's given it to him again. As the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is on the seashore, and thy seed will inherit the cities of its enemies, and in thy seed will all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. And I have shown to all that thou art faithful unto me, and all that I have said unto thee, go in peace. Prove Satan wrong. Boom. And Abraham went to his young men, and they arose and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham dwelt by the well of the oath, and he celebrated this festival every year 7 days with joy, and he called it the festival of Yahweh, according to the 7 days during which he went and returned in peace. And accordingly hath it been ordained and written on the heavenly tablets regarding Israel and its seed, that they should observe this festival 7 days with the joy of the festival. And I'm going to look something up right quick. See if I can find that. Boo. First Chronicles. Satan, adversary. Where's the other one at? Let's see. Satan in Matthew 12:26. Same word. This is that's from the Greek. Yep, the Old Testament's from the Hebrew. Aramaic origin. Adversary, prince of evil spirits. See Jubilees. Incites apostasy from Yahweh and sin. Circumventing men. Worshippers of idols. by his demons take possession of men and afflict them with diseases. What's this Aramaic word here? Yep, Hebrew origin. Satan, adversary. Root word. Sultan. Yeah. Mass demon of Satan. Birthdays are pagan. I'm not sure about birthdays. I know that the cone hat, the witch's hat, is pagan. The candles and wishing, blowing out wishing to a genie on your cake, that's pagan. But birthday, I'm not sure. Covenant confirmed through obedience. Yep. Yeah. I'm out to lunch on birthdays. I'm not sure about that. But there's certain pagan customs that are blended in for sure. Chapter 19. And in the first year of the first week in the 42nd Jubilee, that would be, what's that? 42nd Jubilee. Calculator. So Jubilee's 49 years. 42nd Jubilee would be, what, the year 2058? So in the year 2058, 42nd Jubilee, Abraham returned and dwelt opposite Hebron, that is Kirjath Arba, 2 weeks of years, and in the first year of the third week of this Jubilee, the days of the life of Sarah were accomplished, and she died in Hebron, and Abraham went to mourn over her and bury her, and we tried him to see if his spirit were patient, and he were not indignant in the words of his mouth. And I need to work on that big time. And he was found patient in this and was not disturbed, for in patience of spirit he conversed with the children of Heth, to the intent that they should give him a place in which to bury his dead. And Yahweh gave him grace before all who saw him, and he besought him in gentleness, the sons of Heth. And they gave him the land of the double cave over against Mamre, that is Hebron, for 400 pieces of silver. And they besought him, saying, We shall give it to thee for nothing. But he would not take it from their hands for nothing, for he gave the price of the place, the money in full. And he bowed down before them twice. And after this he buried his dead in the double cave. And all the days of the life of Sarah were 127 years. That is 2 jubilees and 4 weeks in 1 year. That's 4 weeks of years. 7 years is 1 week of years. These are the days of the years of the life of Sarah. This is the 10th trial wherewith Abraham was tried, and he was found faithful and patient in spirit. And he said not a single word regarding the rumor in the land, how that Yahweh had said that he would give it to him and to his seed after him. And he begged a place there to bury his dead, for he was found faithful, and was recorded on the heavenly tablets as a friend of Yahweh. Wow. And in the 4th year thereof he took a wife for his son Isaac, and her name was Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Nahor, the brother of Abraham, the sister of Laban, and daughter of Bethuel. And Bethuel was the son of Milcah, who was the wife of Nahor, the brother of Abraham. And Abraham took to himself a third wife, and her name was Keturah, from among the daughters of his household servants, for Hagar had died before Sarah. And she bare him 6 sons, Zimram and Jokshan, and Medan and Midian and Ishbak and Shua, in the 2 weeks of years. And in the 6th week, in the 2nd year thereof, Rebekah bare to Isaac 2 sons, Jacob and Esau. And Jacob was a smooth and upright man, and Esau was fierce, a man of the field, and hairy, and Jacob dwelt in tents. And the youths grew, and Jacob learned to write, but Esau did not learn, for he was a man of the field and a hunter, and he learnt war, and all his deeds were fierce. And Abraham loved Jacob, but Isaac loved Esau. And Abraham saw the deeds of Esau, and he knew that in Jacob should his name and seed be called. And he called Rebekah and gave commandment regarding Jacob, for he knew that she too loved Jacob much more than Esau. And he said unto her, My daughter, watch over my son Jacob, for he shall be in my stead on the earth, and for a blessing in the midst of the children of men, and for the glory of the whole seed of Shem. Abraham's the descendant of Shem and Jacob. For I know that Yahweh will choose him to be a people for my possession unto himself above all peoples that are upon the face of the earth. And behold, Isaac my son loved Esau more than Jacob, but I see that thou truly lovest Jacob. Add still further to thy kindness to him, and let thine eyes be upon him in love, for he will be a blessing unto us on the earth from henceforth unto all generations of the earth. Let thy hands be strong, and let thy heart rejoice in thy son Jacob, for I have loved him far beyond all my sons. He will be blessed forever, and his seed will fill the whole earth. If a man can number the sand of the earth, his seed also will be numbered. And all the blessings wherewith Yahweh hath blessed me, and my seed shall belong to Jacob, and his seed always. And in his seed shall my name be blessed, and the name of my fathers, Shem, and Noah, and Enoch, and Mahalalel, and Enos, and Seth, and Adam. So that's Abraham's the direct descendant of these right here. And what was Noah? Righteous. He was saved from the flood. Enoch, righteous, scribe. And these shall serve to lay the foundations of the heaven, and to strengthen the earth, and to renew all the luminaries which are in the firmament. And he called Jacob before the eyes of Rebekah his mother, and kissed him, and blessed him, and said, Jacob, my beloved son, whom my soul loveth, may Yahweh bless thee from above the firmament, and may he give thee all the blessings wherewith he blessed Adam, and Enoch, and Noah, and Shem, and all the things of which he told me, and all the things which he promised to give me, may he cause to cleave to thee and to thy seed forever, according to the days of heaven above the earth. And see, Abraham he's repeating what Yahweh told him. He told him the promise, and Abraham believed it, and now he's telling Jacob and Rebekah. And let's see. And the spirits of Mastema shall not rule over thee or over thy seed. That be the devils of Satan, to turn thee from Yahweh, who is thy Elohim, from henceforth forever. And may Yahweh Elohim be a father to thee, and thou the firstborn son, and to the people always. Go in peace, my son. And they both went forth together from Abraham. And Rebekah loved Jacob with all her heart and with all her soul, very much more than Esau. But Isaac loved Esau much more than Jacob. And in the 42nd Jubilee, in the first year of the 7th week, Abraham called Ishmael and his 12 sons, and Isaac and his 2 sons, and the 6 sons of Keturah and their sons, and he commanded them that they should observe the way of Yahweh, that they should work righteousness, and love each his neighbor, and act on this manner amongst all men, that they should each so walk with regard to them as to do judgment and righteousness on the earth, that they should circumcise their sons according to the covenant which he had made with them, and not to deviate from the right hand to the right hand or the left of all the paths which Yahweh has commanded us, and that we should keep ourselves from all fornication and uncleanness, and renounce from amongst us all fornication and uncleanness. And if any woman or maid commit fornication amongst you, burn her with fire, and let them not commit fornication with her after their eyes and their heart. Let them not take to themselves wives from the daughters of Canaan, for the seed of Canaan will be rooted out of the land. That's because he took Shem's inheritance, or a portion of Shem's inheritance. He was cursed through his father Ham. And, well, because Ham looked at Noah and made fun of him. And he told them on account of the giants He told them of the judgment of the giants and the judgment of the Sodomites, how they had been judged on account of their wickedness, and had died on account of their fornication and uncleanness and mutual corruption through fornication. And guard yourselves from all fornication and uncleanness, and from all pollution of sin, lest you make our name a curse, and your whole life a hissing, and your sons be destroyed by the sword, and you become accursed like Sodom, and all your remnant as the sons of Gomorrah. I implore you, my sons, love Yahweh of heaven, and cleave ye to all his commandments, and walk not after their idols and after their uncleanness, and make not for yourselves molten or graven images. First commandment. No. Second commandment. Help me up. Ooh, let's see. Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy. Yep. No other gods before me. 1. No graven image. 2. Yep. Make not for yourselves molten or graven gods, for they are vanity. There's no spirit in them, for they are the work of men's hands, and all who trust in them trust in nothing. Serve them not, nor worship them. Commandment 2. And that's commandment 3 also, yeah. Yep. Don't worship them. So he's teaching his sons the commandments. But that was just Israel, and Abraham didn't have the law. Horse hockey. But serve ye the Most High Elohim, and worship him continually, and hope for his countenance always, and work uprightness and righteousness before him, that he may have pleasure in you, and grant you in his mercy, and send rain upon you morning and evening, and bless all your works which you have wrought upon the earth, and bless thy bread and thy water, and bless the fruit of thy womb and the fruit of thy land. He's talking about the works of 22 works of creation. And he gave Adam 22 works, beginning of Jubilees. And the herds of thy cattle and the flocks of thy sheep, and you will be for a blessing on the earth, and all nations of the earth will desire you, and bless your sons in my name, that they may be blessed as I am. And he gave to Ishmael and to his sons and to the sons of Keturah gifts, and sent them away from Isaac his son, and he gave everything to Isaac his son. And Ishmael and his sons and the sons of Keturah and their sons went together and dwelt from Paran to the entering in of Babylon, in all the land which is toward the east, facing the desert. And these mingled with each other, and their name was called Arabs and Ishmaelites. Huh. I don't know if you see that in regular scripture. Arabs. Nope. Interesting. So it's in Jubilees, but not in here. What'd they do with Genesis? The reason I say that is they took out artifacts said. Artifacts said. Where's that at? Okay, man. Yeah, there's a Canaan on Cain's side, and there's a Canaan on let's see. Where's it at? Yeah, Seth. Seth begot Enos. Enos begot Canaan. Begot Mahalalel. Mahalalel begot Jared. Jared begot Enoch. And Enoch begot Methuselah. And Methuselah begot Lamech. Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And where's it at? It's 10. 10. Yep. Genesis 10 or 11. Maybe it's 11. Yeah, so Genesis 11, Arphaxad begot Shelah. And that's not correct. Arphaxad begot Canaan. Canaan begot Shelah. So Genesis has been tampered with. Period. So there's no telling what else they tampered with. Say Luke 3:36, Luke got it right, which was the son of Canaan, which was the son of Arphaxad. Mahalalel, which was the son of Canaan. Enoch, Jared, Mahalalel, Canaan. Jubilees tells you the same thing. Arphaxad begot Canaan, and Canaan found the tablets that the watchers had wrote the occult stuff on the rock, and he sinned owing to it. Now he's missing from Genesis. Yeah, right. 21. And in the 6th year of the 7th week of this Jubilee, Abraham called Isaac his son, and commanded him, saying, I am become old, and know not the day of my death, and am full of my days, and behold, I am 175 years old, and throughout all the days of my life I have remembered Yahweh, and sought with all my heart to do his will, and to walk uprightly in all his ways. My soul hath hated idols, and I have despised those that serve them, and I have given my heart and spirit that I might observe to do the will of him who created me, for he is Yahweh Elohim, and he is holy and faithful. He is righteous beyond all, and there is with him no accepting of men's persons, and no accepting of gifts, for Yahweh is righteous, and executeth judgment on all who transgress his commandments, and despise his covenant. And do thou, my son, observe his commandments, and his ordinances, and his judgments, and walk not after the abominations, and after the graven images, and after the molten images, and eat no blood at all of animals or cattle, or of any bird which flieth in the heaven. And if thou dost slay a victim as an acceptable peace offering, slay ye it, and pour out its blood upon the altar. And all the fat of the offering offer on the altar with fine flour, and the meat offering mingled with oil. With it its drink offering, offer them altogether on the altar of burnt offering. It is a sweet savor before Yahweh. And thou wilt offer the fat of the sacrifice of thank offerings on the fire which is upon the altar, and the fat which is on the belly, and all the fat on the inwards and the 2 kidneys, and all the fat that is upon them, and upon the loins and liver thou shalt remove together with the kidneys, and offer all these for a sweet savor acceptable before Yahweh, with its meat offering, and with its drink offering for a sweet savor, the bread of the offering of Yahweh, and eat its meat on that day and on the 2nd day, and let not the sun go down upon it till it is eaten, and let nothing be left over for the 3rd day, for it is not acceptable, and let it no longer be eaten, and all who eat thereof will bring sin upon themselves, for thus I have found it written. Oh, they had the oral law before Israel. Abraham didn't have the commandments. Well, he says right here, for it is written on the books of my forefathers, in the words of Enoch and the words of Noah. Right there in Jubilees all along. Abraham had it. And on all thy oblations thou shalt strew salt, and let not the salt of the covenant be lacking in all thy oblations before Yahweh. And as regards the wood of the sacrifices, beware lest thou bring wood for the altar in addition to these: cypress, daphron, sagad, pine, fir, cedar, savin, palm, olive, myrrh, laurel, citron, juniper, balsam, and of these kinds of wood lay upon the altar under the sacrifice, such as have been tested as to their appearance, and do not lay thereon any split or dark wood, but hard and clean, without fault, a sound and new growth. And do not lay thereon old wood, for its fragrance is gone, for there is no longer fragrance in it. as before. Besides these kinds of woods, there is none other that thou shalt place on the altar, for the fragrance is dispersed, and the smell of its fragrance goeth not up to heaven. Observe this commandment, and do it, my son, that thou mayest be upright in all thy deeds, and at all times be clean in thy body, and wash thyself with water before thou approachest to offer on the altar, and wash thy hands and thy feet before thou drawest near to the altar. And when thou art done sacrificing, wash again thy hands and thy feet, and let no blood appear upon you, nor upon your clothes. Be on thy guard, my son, against blood. Be on thy guard exceedingly. Cover it with dust, and do not eat any blood, for it is the soul. Eat no blood whatsoever. And that goes back to the law of Moses. And the apostles taught it in Acts. That's not it. Acts 15:20, write unto them that they abstain from pollutions of idols, from fornication, from things strangled, and from blood. There it is. No blood. Leviticus 17:12, no soul of you shall eat blood, neither the stranger that sojourneth among you. Deuteronomy 12:23, be sure that thou eat no blood, for blood is the life. Thou mayest not eat the life of the flesh. Yep. Do not eat any blood, for it is the soul. And take no gifts for the blood of man, lest it be shed with impunity without judgment. For it is the blood that is shed that causeth the earth to sin, and the earth cannot be cleansed from the blood of man, save by the blood of him who shed it. So when they come to start attacking, if they attack people, and take no present or gift for the blood of man, blood for blood, that thou mayest be accepted before Yahweh, the Most High Elohim, for he is the defense of the good, and that thou mayest be preserved from all evil, and that he may save thee from every kind of death. Right, he is the defense of the good. So do you need the self-defense? Really? If he's our defense? Yeah. I see, my son, that all the works of the children of men are sin and wickedness, and all their deeds are uncleanness and an abomination and a pollution, and there is no righteousness with them. Beware lest thou shouldst walk in their ways and tread in their paths, and sin a sin unto death before the Most High Elohim. And that is interesting. There is a sin unto death. Jubilees. Yeah, see. 1 John 5:16, if any man see his brother sin a sin which is not unto death, he shall ask, and he shall give him life, for them that sin not unto death. There is a sin unto death. I do not say that he shall pray for it. All unrighteousness is sin, and there is a sin not unto death. And we know, let's say, 1 John 5. Whole world lieth in wicked. And what's he say at the end of the chapter right here? Little children, keep yourselves from idols. Amen. So they knew back in Jubilees, there's a sin unto death. And the apostles, the disciples, and the Messiah probably had the book of Jubilees too. Else he will hide his face from thee, and give thee back into the hands of thy transgression, and root thee out of the land, and thy seed likewise from under heaven, and thy name and thy seed will perish from the whole earth. Turn away from all their deeds and all their uncleanness, and observe the ordinance of the Most High Elohim, and do his will, and be upright in all things. And he will bless thee in all thy deeds, and will raise up from thee the plant of righteousness through all the earth, throughout all the generations of the earth. And my name and thy name will not be forgotten under heaven forever. Go, my son, in peace. May the Most High Elohim, my Elohim, and thy Elohim strengthen thee to do his will. And may he bless all thy seed and the residue of thy seed for the generations forever, and all with all righteous blessings, that thou mayest be a blessing on all the earth. And he went out from him rejoicing. All right, let's see. I think I'm going to call it quits there. I got to chapter 22. Remember, this is the written by Moses, found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, so that makes it Torah. Genesis, Jubilees, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. And I hope